Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 8 of Chirpin with the Chicks. I'm Savannah Gaida.
And I'm Bethany Sheehan, and welcome back, Sav. We missed you.
I missed you guys so much more. I missed hockey. I missed Chirpin. So glad to be back. Episode 8, the Great Eight. And speaking of the Great Eight, Alex Ovechkin. He's down for the count in DC right now. He's still 27 goals away from beating Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal record. But unfortunately, he suffered an injury against Utah a couple nights ago. It was a 6-2 win over Utah. Ovechkin fractured his left fibula against Utah. It was a very awkward injury. Jack McBain went in for a hit, and we know he's a hard player. And his leg sort of got caught weirdly with Ovi's leg. And how that ended up in a fractured leg, I don't know. But Ovechkin's out for 4 to 6 weeks, which is actually the longest absence in his NHL career. In 20 NHL seasons, Ovechkin has only ever missed 59 games, and 35 of those have been because of injury. So to be out for 4 to 6 weeks is a record high for Ovechkin. But we wish him all the best. Ovi, get well soon.
Yeah, and I mean, that hit was really interesting. Like you said, I felt that it wasn't intentionally like a dirty hit. Obviously, a knee on knee is always going to be a tough situation. And the Utah's slated to play the Caps again on February 9th. I will be in attendance at that game. I am sure that fans will be booing McBain if he is playing, and I am sure that the probability for a fight is high. I know he already fought Tom Wilson at one point in the last game, but I think there's going to be some kind of rivalry that starts from that hit for sure. Um,
And just looking at poor McBain's Instagram, I mean, the kid's 24. He's young and he's getting so much hate, which is inevitable. It's part of the game, it's part of the fans. The fan base is intense. But yeah, I don't think it was intentional. And, per a lot of reports, it seemed like McBain was mortified in the locker room after the game. I mean, you never want to be that guy that, injures another player, let alone a player like Alex Ovechkin. You don't want to be that guy. And especially for McBain being so young, I don't think he did this on purpose.
no, and I mean, it definitely didn't look on purpose to me. And like you were saying, like he's a young guy, like, and to have, like, to be involved with the Ovechkin injury, when he's been on such a heater, I mean, that's just, it's tragic. Like it's tragic, and I'm sure McBain is very stressed out right now. We'll move on to Toronto. Obviously another controversial hit on Matthew Knies recently. To me, it looked dirty. It was originally called a major penalty and was overturned to a minor penalty. Why? Why it was turned into a minor for roughing, I have no idea. Zach Whitecloud, during their game versus the Vegas Golden Knights, he made a crazy hit on Matthew Knies. It was like it looked like his shoulder went into Knies's face head and his head snapped back. And White Cloud's feet looked like they left the ice, which is, kind of a sure sign of a dirty hit. So that's really interesting. And then obviously Toronto's been facing a ton of other injuries. Pacioretty is out, Ekman Larson is out, Kampf is out, Domi's out, and Austin Matthews is also out.
Yeah, Austin Matthews was last seen in Germany. It looks like it's a popular destination for professional athletes seeking medical treatment. We know Kobe Bryant, Cristiano Ronaldo, Tiger Woods, even Christian McCaffrey have all gone to Germany at some point in their careers for some sort of medical treatment. And there's a German orthopedist actually that's very exceptional and well known for his work, named Dr. Peter Welling. And he actually created a procedure that essentially it takes an athlete's blood, processes it with added proteins, and then injects it back in the athlete's body. So there is some sort of advanced and revolutionary technology abroad that these athletes are clearly taking advantage of. But as far as we know, Matthew's injury has not been disclosed. All we know is that it's an upper body injury, and he is expected to return against the Panthers. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly he went abroad for. I mean, Oktoberfest was last month. So
Yeah. I mean, I still suspect hair transplant.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
Allegation!
But it is good to know that he will
Slanderous!
be returning. If he wasn't going to get a hair transplant during the off season, he should consider it.
I mean, hair transplant, Oktoberfest, and medical treatment are all on the table.
It could be any of those three, except
Well,
mostly probably not Oktoberfest, since like you said, it's last month. But it's good that
comment
he is
below which you
returning.
think it is.
Yeah, comment below. It's good to know that he will be back next week. So obviously this injury is not going to keep him out much longer. So Toronto will have their top guy back.
I'm living.
In
Save that for
in
later.
in other Atlantic Division news, the Boston Bruins have fired Jim Montgomery. So I said this
Hey,
was coming. I said this was coming, and then it did.
yes,
And the loss to the Blue Jackets was the final straw there. They lost 5-1, which was it was I mean, I like both teams, obviously. So I was like, oh, I'm excited for this game. I hope it's close. And then it was not close at all. And then the Bruins coach got fired the next day. And this is the third Jack Adams winning coach that they have fired in the last 10 years. So, like, for example, Bruce Cassidy was fired and then immediately won the Stanley Cup with the Vegas Golden Knights. So I swear to God, if Jim Montgomery gets picked up by another freaking team and then wins a Stanley Cup, we got to start looking internally, okay? Maybe coaching isn't the problem, okay? Maybe the general manager and the president of the Bruins need to be better at draft picks, at trades, at signing people when they want to be signed. The
tell him.
team itself needs to try harder and stop being soft. I am sorry, but this is ridiculous. And for you to only score one versus Utah in your game with your new coach, I'm like, this is it's too much for me. I am stressed and I just miss Jim Montgomery because he did not deserve that. And every player on the team knows that he didn't deserve that and said he didn't deserve that. They were like, oh, well, we should have been playing better. Yeah, you should have. Yeah.
One to blame, you know? And I mean, it's great that the players are taking accountability, but higher management, GMs, owners, they're going to need someone to blame and they're not going to take it on themselves. So yeah, Jim Montgomery unfortunately had to go. And
He was definitely the scapegoat in that situation. He did not at all deserve to be fired. And of course, there's been, rumors spiraling about that whole situation as it is, which is just awful. But I mean, Jim Montgomery, he was like, what, 120 wins, something like that, 41 losses and 23 overtime losses with the Bruins. Like, there was no reason to fire him, and I am still mourning the loss of Jim Montgomery on the Bruins.
well, if they turn their record around, I don't think you'll be in mourning very much.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that ends up happening. Right now, we have an interim coach. Obviously, last year when Lindy Ruff got fired from the Devils, and they had another coach that didn't help the team. So I'm yet to see if this, new what's his name, Joe Sacco or something like that. I'm yet to see if he will be the change needed for the team. I think they need to fire the GM and the president. I think they're the problem. We haven't had a good pick. We had one good pick in the last like 15 years, and that was David Pastrnak. Everybody else who we picked is like gone. So it's like, I mean, Swayman was also a good pick, but I mean a good first round pick in the last 15 years. We haven't won a cup either since 2011. So, and that's the tea on that.
And a Utah injury update for us. Connor Ingram is day to day now with an upper body injury. Utah's been making some moves around. Karol Vejmelka is now in the spot as the starting goalie. And they also recalled Jackson Stauber in an emergency recall situation from Tucson. So, they're really figuring out what to do now with Ingram being day to day. And it's really interesting because Vejmelka is very underrated in general. And he's 1-5 in his starts. However, when you really look at his stats, it's so interesting because he has a 92% save percentage, but his goals against average are 2.37. But yet he's 1-5 in starts. So make it make
Makes
sense.
no sense. Yeah.
like the chemistry of the team or what's going on, but I think he as a goalie is quite talented, and I'm excited to see how he'll perform now with Ingram out.
Yeah, and Ingram and Vmelka in general are a really underrated tandem. So I think they look really great. So I don't think it's on them. These, the 1-5 record, I don't think is on Vmelka there, but that's that's just my opinion. I don't know.
Accountability. We're holding everybody accountable today. NHL, everyone watch out. No one's safe.
No one is safe.
Except Ellen
Not
Hughes.
anybody.
Ellen Hughes is safe.
Ellen Hughes is safe.
Okay, and our final update for the day for the week is JT Miller has taken an indefinite personal leave of absence. So we wish him all the best. We hope that him and his family are doing okay, and it would be wonderful to see him on the ice as soon as we can when he's available and in his best form.
Yeah, just hoping for the best for him and his family there for sure. Um,
Pyramid time.
Pyramid time. So, at the bottom of the pyramid, we have the one and only New Jersey Devils. Now listen, they have only played 2 games since the last time we filmed. So they lost to the Lightning, but they had a really important win versus Carolina, huge Metro Division matchup, and they won 4-2. And that was Jacob Markstrom, the goalie's 500th game. And then they won with their moms in attendance, and they have their mom's trip. So I will be at the game in attendance tonight. I will be keeping an eye out for the moms. Moms, if I see you and I give you our Chirpin with the Chicks business card, hi, love you. Thanks for raising your sons. And then yeah, again, versus the Caps tonight, huge Metro Division matchup. Obviously, these teams, they have a history and they're both pretty high up right now in terms of standings. So it'll be really exciting to see how both of them play.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this next matchup. The Devils beat the Caps in their home opener back in October, and then they lost in overtime 6-5 in their second matchup this season. So it'll be really interesting how this next matchup plays out, especially with Ovi out. But I think overall, the Devils deserve a spot on the pyramid. Sheldon Keefe has been putting a lot of work into really perfecting these lines. He's letting players gel into their new roles for a couple of games. And one thing that I really like about him is that he is a no BS type coach. Like, for instance, Paul Cotter was benched for slashing in a game the other night. And next day at practice, you got Nolan Foote playing in Cotter's usual assignment. So I think this is great because it really pressures the players to bring their A game, every practice, because there's always going to be a guy waiting to be called up from the AHL or waiting to upgrade from the fourth line, from the bench, whatever it is, there's always a next man up.
Yep, for sure. And I mean, he's been excellent at putting lines together. Obviously, I've talked about the PB&J line so much. So I'm loving Sheldon Keefe as the head coach right now. Cotter, obviously, there's some accountability. He's having them be accountable. And that's, something we talked about earlier that I think a lot of teams are missing.
I mean, but also to be fair, the bar was low in Jersey. The bar, the bar was low. Like, we had Lindy Ruff. So it was rough with rough.
It was rough with rough, for sure. Next up on the pyramid.
Right?
The Columbus Blue Jackets.
Show us your shirt.
New shirt unlocked. Wait, this is falling. Okay. New shirt unlocked. I got a new shirt. So if you catch me in Philly wearing this shirt, no, you didn't. Yes, you did, but I probably will be bedazzling it because women in sports.
Women in sports.
But the Blue Jackets, obviously have been, I mean, they've had an interesting week, I would say. They beat Boston on Monday to my detriment. There were 3 goals in the first period versus Boston. And then they held Boston to 1 goal. Obviously, they've had these games before where they scored like 2 or 3 in the first, and then the other team was able to come back. Boston is not able to come back when they're down that much. So it's very unfortunate that Jim Montgomery was fired over that game. But I mean, it was, if I was just a Blue Jackets fan and not also a Bruins fan, I would have loved to see it. And then also, speaking of 3 goals in the first period, they had been down 3-0 against the Lightning, and they scored 4 goals in 5 minutes in the second period and ended up winning in overtime. And I will credit a lot of this win to King Kent Johnson. Love you. He is back from injury. He was injured in like the second game of the season, very early on, upper body, shoulder, something like that. And he had 2 goals versus the Lightning, and one was shorthanded and one was a power play goal. So really great play from Kent Johnson in his first game back. And I'm super excited that my Michigan guy is back in the lineup. Heavy Michigan team presence once again.
I love seeing this Columbus team play. They're obviously in their rebuilding year, but I love that. Yes. I love that they're typically the underdogs in a lot of their matchups, and they play with a chip on their shoulder. And so typically they tend to perform better against teams that people expect them to get blown out by. So I'm really excited for them to play Carolina next, because it's the Blue Jackets facing a team that's first in the Metro Division, first in the Eastern Conference, and third in the league. And if the Blue Jackets end up winning, then hell, we're flying to Columbus next week to see them play.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh my gosh, please.
Local finals. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to wait. I gotta go to Columbus. I got business.
Annual meeting, you're gonna have to wait. No, for sure. I mean, they've been playing excellent, and this Carolina game is really big too because they're playing against one of their former teammates, Jack Roslovic. So I'm excited to see if there's. I think they're playing at Nationwide, so I'm excited to see if there's like a little video for him to at that game tonight. And then we'll go on to third on the pyramid, third place, or third to last place, the Minnesota Wild. The Wild. I mean, yeah, this has been a crazy this has been a crazy season with the Central Division. The Wild have had 2 straight wins, and then they played a really close game versus the Stars. So, that's super exciting that they were able to, hang in with I mean, I'm not going to say hang in with the big dogs because they're both the big dogs, but it was a big dog versus big dog matchup. So that's always really fun to see. And they're second right now in the Central Division, and that's a super competitive division right now.
The Wild got a really strong first and second line, dominated against Edmonton the other night. And it'll be really interesting to see them moving forward without top line right wing Matt Zuccarello. He suffered a very serious lower body injury. He's okay. Thank gosh he's okay. But we wish him
I can't.
we wish him all the best. For those who don't know, the lower body injury resulted in a severe
Ruptured testicle.
Yes. And his injury resulted in a dented cup. So you can only imagine how painful that was for poor Zuccarello laid out on the ice. But he's a warrior, and he's doing great. But now's the time for a lot of other players like Johansson. You got to step up in Zuccarello's absence. You got to step up. So I hope that moving forward, they can keep this momentum up.
For sure. And those young guys, they have been and will continue to step up, I'm sure, as well. So yeah, best thoughts for Zuccarello currently. Next up, in third place, the Winnipeg Jets. Again, we'll say it again and again. We're never going to be surprised putting the Jets on this list. Until they start losing more games, they will probably stay on the pyramid. The Panthers did shut them out in one game, but the Jets won the next game, so they split the series. So I mean, I mean, we talked about this last week. Jessica was like, I don't want either team to lose. Neither did I. So they got 1-1. So, I mean, that's fine, I guess, for both of us. And then they won again versus the Penguins on Friday. So, they still only have 3 losses and they're still at the top of the Central Division. So, I mean, obviously, we got to put them on the pyramid.
You're absolutely right. The Jets are not leaving this pyramid anytime soon. And it's important to note that not only are they such a strong team, but they're such a strong team in the hardest division in the NHL right now. You've got 3 dominating teams playing there. You've got the Wild, the Jets, the Stars. So I can't wait to see this division in playoff action, because when you've got teams like this is the type of hockey we want to see.
And dare I say, I think even the Avalanche are going to start sneaking their way back up. They've looked pretty good this week. I almost put them on the list, but
Yeah.
alas, that was a little bit of a spoiler for the rest of the pyramid. The Avalanche aren't going to be on here. So if you're waiting for the Avalanche, I'm sorry.
Your time will come in due time. But I thought about it. I thought about, maybe we should mention them on the show. But then I saw that 11-9 record and I was like, nah, you got to do better. Our
They're
standards
making their way
are high.
back.
We have
Yeah.
high standards at
High standards. Standards here, all the way up.
through the roof. Can't fit
But
it within a Zoom screen. Okay,
in second place,
here we go.
back on the pyramid for the first time in a few weeks,
The
the
Flames.
Calgary Flames. Yes. They're
Fire
on fire.
Calgary.
They're on fire right now. They've had 3 straight wins, including versus the Rangers, and they've moved up from being kind of at the bottom of the division to up into second place. So, I mean, not that the, Pacific Division is super competitive right now, but they have been playing really excellent hockey. And so they have, in fact, made the pyramid this week.
Yeah, and they're so good at quickly and efficiently turning the puck around, making the most out of their power plays. And I was particularly impressed when they outplayed the Rangers. I've got to say it. They outplayed them. They ended New York's 3-game win streak. And to go up against Igor Shesterkin, they had 49 shots, and Igor could only save 46 of them. And I guarantee if the Flames were going up against any other team and they had shot those 49 shots, it would have been much more than just 3 goals that night. Because you're going up against one of the best goalies in the league. So
exactly. Those must have been some high danger or like difficult predicted shots. I mean, Shesterkin's he's him. So
and they gave him a run for his money, which
yeah, I mean,
still waiting on that contract decision.
I was gonna say, who's gonna get him? Maybe he should go to Calgary.
Maybe.
Thoughts?
I'm going to Calgary too then. Sorry.
Yeah, me too. I'm moving to Canada. Speaking of Canada, at the top of our pyramid, we have Toronto. Now, they have also had 3 straight wins versus teams that are also really great right now. They've won against the Caps, the Oilers, and the Golden Knights. Obviously, the Caps have been really excellent. Vegas is at the top of the Pacific. The Oilers were on our list, on our pyramid last week. So, top teams, and they've had a lot of major roster changes with all of these injuries that have been happening. For them to continue to get wins in the win column, I mean, that's impressive with the amount of injuries they've had right now, and they're at the top of the Atlantic right now. So, I mean, they're the team to beat in the Atlantic, which I can't say that I saw coming, but
I'm very intrigued to see how this team's going to play out without Matthews, because hot take, I think they are better off without him. Stay in Germany, do whatever you got to do there, Mr. Matthews, whether it's, drink a beer at Oktoberfest, get a hair transplant, get some, inject your blood with more protein. I don't know. I don't know what the athletes are doing over there, but the stats speak for themselves. At the moment, Toronto's 6-1 without Matthews. At an all-time, they're 41-20-2 without Matthews. That's a 64% win rate compared to 327 wins, 174 losses, and 74 ties with Matthews, which, when you crunch those numbers, comes out to a 56.8% win rate. And that's much lower than 64%. You'd much rather be higher up there. So, and that's not to say he's a bad hockey player. This is a guy who fell just short of 70 goals last season, was a contender for the Rocket Richard Trophy. It just seems like something maybe is not meshing when he's on the ice. Sometimes you don't need your fearless leader. You're actually more fearless without him. So I think that this is something worth noting, worth keeping on your radar, and coaches should look into that as well.
It's very, very interesting. And I think especially they just made him captain, so I don't think he's gonna go anywhere. But something I was thinking about was obviously Mitch Marner is up for contract renewal, I believe. So what are we gonna pay him? Because we're paying Matthews like 12 mil. We're paying Nylander like 12 mil. Like you don't have another 12 mil to give to a top forward if you want to have the rest of your team be good. So it's like, we can't get rid of Matthews now that he's a captain, but are we gonna get rid of Marner? Are we gonna get rid of Nylander and try to get some better goaltending, some better defense to, really stack up? But it's really interesting that he's become the captain. I think you should look into the John Tavares amulet theory, because maybe that'll help him be better on the ice and not get injured.
What's going on with like the NHL witchcraft that's been happening? You can't tell me either Gretzky paid McBain off, or he did some sort of voodoo behind the scenes, some sort of witchcraft, the amulet. I don't know what's going on.
They're killing me right now. I'm witchy too. I'm like psychic and everything. So it's like I'm like I feel represented in NHL right now. Like, yeah, an amulet. Good idea. Speaking of feeling represented, this is in fact our Thanksgiving episode. So if you're watching this and it's Thanksgiving, actually it is Thanksgiving most likely, or it's around Thanksgiving. So
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. And in honor of Thanksgiving, we're going to say some things that we're thankful for. I'll go first. Jessica Campbell and her representation of women in sports. She's been excellent. She knows so much, and people have been questioning her, and she's just continued to prove them wrong. Like that penalty for like the illegal, they put like the wrong, like their roster was wrong. They put the wrong lineup on the ice. They had like a legal lineup at the beginning of the game, and she was the one who caught it. That's amazing. I'm also thankful for Michigan hockey players and their dominance on the ice. I'm thankful for going to hockey games and seeing games with my family next week, even if it's just college. And then I'm thankful for spending time with my family and my friends over the holidays, getting a little bit of a break from my 9 to 5. And this is kind of like my 5 to 9 before my 9 to 5. And I'm thankful for that too. So
that was beautiful. And on that note, I am first and foremost thankful for all the incredible women that have been pioneering in this industry that allow us to do what we love to do every day. So shout out to Leah Hextall, to Jackie Redmond, to Catherine Tappan, to all the incredible female broadcasters in the NHL world for inspiring us, for allowing us to start this podcast, start this YouTube channel, and talk about hockey every week, something we love to do. And I'm also thankful for my incredible co-host who bears with me and does this with me. We're in this together always. I'm thankful for, on the topic of incredible women, my mom, who passed away a few months ago, but has been the driving force and inspiration behind everything I've done this year, including this, something that has always been a personal goal of mine, to start a YouTube channel. So I'm really thankful that I have that inspiration and that flame ignited within me. Thankful for our viewers, our fans, our ever so loyal Instagram followers that always vote on our stories and send the likes. We appreciate it more than you know. And overall, thankful for friends, family. Oh, my grandma. Babciu, jestem bardzo wdzięczna za ciebie, kocham cię. Mwah. Had to give grandma a shout out all the way in Poland.
Shout out grandma.
Yeah, it's not Thanksgiving without being grateful for Babja. Like I had to do it. And I don't even think she watches hockey. So when she visits, I'm taking her to a Rangers game. Like, no, it's not even a question. I'm doing it.
Forcer.
Happening. Yeah, yeah, she's coming with me. I'll drag her if I have to to Madison Square Garden. And yeah, so that's what I'm thankful for this year. I'm thankful that I get to chirp with you.
Yeah, I'm thankful we both have the talent of yap and chirp. So there we go.
Add that to our LinkedIn. Personal skills. Chirping.
Skills, yap.
This and yap.
This and yap. This is yap.
Yeah.
Hockey and yap.
Yep.
Period.
All right. Well, that is all we have for you today. So go back to enjoying your turkey, your stuffing, cranberries. Actually, fun little segment. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Oh, mashed potatoes.
Okay, that's a
I'm
good one.
Irish as mashed potatoes on top.
Real. Real. Okay. I think I like to go with cream spinach, but it's a hit or miss. It really depends where you go because some people make it really bitter. Some people make it really creamy. It's a happy medium. My sister makes the best cream spinach. So shout out to you, Angie. I hope you're
Shout out
watching.
Angie on
Shout out.
creamed spinach.
I hope you're watching this. I will make you watch this. I'm gonna actually show everyone this at the Thanksgiving table.
Perfect. And
Well,
this can be like the break between dinner and dessert for everybody.
we are the full course. Chirpin with the Chicks is the full course. We are the
Very true.
entertainment. Well, now we're really gonna end the show. Episode 8, the Great 8. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We had such a fun time filming this one. I think it's my favorite one yet.
I think so too. This was a fun one.
Yeah. So we'll see you all soon and chirps out.
Chirps out.